Welcome to Unveiling the Northeast, India's best kept secret. The Seven Sisters and One Brother, as many would like to call Northeast India, never ceases to amaze its visitors. Celebrating this unique amalgamation of several cultures and heritage, the Northeastern Council, Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship, and ET Travel World have joined hands to showcase the tourism potential that makes the region an ideal fit for tourists throughout the year. We will also deliberate on issues that need addressal and how this potential can be harnessed in a better manner. Today is also the concluding day of Destination Northeast 2020, as a result of which the donor minister, Dr. Jitendra Singh, could not be here with us, but he sends his best wishes and commends this effort. We shall now hear from Mr. Moses Chalai, Secretary of the Northeastern Council under the Donor Ministry, who will be delivering the welcome address. Welcome to our webinar today. Please deliver your welcome address. Thank you very much.
It gives me great pleasure to join and to be with you for this session or for this this webinar, which we are into this unraveling Northeast India's best kept secret. Well, I'm given about 10 minutes, so I will try to limit myself to that. And well, we all know that needless to say that Northeast has much to offer. I mean, that's something that we all agree, and today's topic is also revolving around that fact. Now we all know that we have even from climatical point of view of perspective, we have from tropical, subtropical to alpine, and even around the year glacier and snowbound mountains, peaks, and then from the vast hills to hills and mountains of different grades, if I may say, or levels, and we have these low rolling hills. I'm sure that some of us have been, whether it's in Tripura or whether it's in Karbi Anglong, and not so beautiful that lowland, low plain hills, beautiful ones. And then we also have the sprawling meadows, beautiful meadows of the Meghalaya Plateau, of which is very well known that the British, when they were here in those days, especially any Scot officer or person landed up here would become immediately feel that they're at home. It's as good, as beautiful as or maybe more beautiful than the Scottish hills. And we have lakes and the mighty rivers and of every variety and choice, and the wonderful and pristine forest. The forest, when you talk about, one has to really go to Arunachal to see what a great forest is like. We do have many offers to things to offer, and also there are also a few unique unique things which are at times known and not too well known. For instance, of course, we have happily given the sweet addiction to the whole nation with our famous tea, chai. I'm one of them, and I mean, I'm sure that like many of you, it's difficult for me to think life without tea. The morning cup of tea and the evening and the in between also. So it also started from Northeast, and the tea industry and the tea plantations continue in a very, very beautiful manner, and huge presence. And then, in fact, very few people may even know that the mango fruit, which I mean, most Indians cannot even think life without mango, also originated from Northeast. And so the mandarin oranges. And then we also know that the world famous polo game originated from Manipur. It's officially acknowledged. And the longest and the largest network of cave system in South Asia is in Meghalaya. And then we have the diverse communities and tribes with their rich cultural heritages. And then we have that one-horned rhino, and the reserve forest, and spread in different parts of the states. So if we were to see that every state has something, and Nagaland is known for the series of the festivity that happens around the year in the state. And then the latest is that I'm sure that all of us have read recently that Mizoram has been declared as the happiest state in India. So, no, yes, it is also a fact that we do have in pockets and parts of Northeast with, certain law and order situations, certain the challenges are there. But we also have good portion or majority portion of Northeast, which is very peaceful, which is fairly, very safe, and also the happiest place to be in India. So I am sure that with the right kind of presentation, Northeast can go a long way. You know, also it's I'm sure that all of us are aware that quite a few things are happening on tourism front in the Northeast, and there are many players and stakeholders. Some of them are doing very well, but yet the overall footfall is far from what we wish we wish and we can do. The potential is far from what we can offer. Um, for that matter, if we talk about the international travelers, India is also not doing too well. Receiving international. Okay, this is a very extraordinary year because of COVID. But in other years also, we don't receive many international tourists compared to many other countries. I was surprised to learn that the other day that Barcelona city receives as much as, or maybe a little more than the total foreign visitors on tourist in India, one city in Europe. So and if you come to notice, then it becomes even fewer. So I think we can do a lot, and we need to catch up a lot. But at the same time, quite a few things are happening very silently and very quietly. And therefore, we need to catch up with them and understand how these successful entrepreneurs in the region are doing well, and so that how we can replicate and expand them. We also know that the young travelers are now becoming quite different. Many of them quietly land up in Northeast and quietly go back because they've come to know through some blog or through some web series or through the net, and they come where they want to come, meet the people whom they want to meet, stay with whom they have to stay, and quietly goes off. Because of the pervasive presence of net and the smartphones and the information that are available. So we also need to understand the new travelers and how to really reach out to them and get them into our network, into our fold. Therefore, we need to work together. From NEC side, we do a few things about tourism. I will not like to say that we're doing great things here, but in small measures, we also try, in small and limited measure, we're also trying to do our bit. And also, we're also doing a study with the World Bank, the World Bank team in association with, we're doing some studies. And even at 5 p.m. today, we have a webinar with them because some of them are located in America. So it has to be in the evening. And a few things are happening well there. So we see that the way they put things is very interesting. It's yet to finalize, but I understand that we can really work together with experts like these and all the stakeholders, and we can move on well in this. Finally, before that, I want to say that we're in the middle of as was mentioned, this Destination Northeast 2020, which we do physically every year, but because of COVID, we could not, and we are trying very hard through this through this virtual platform, and a lot of learning experience. And maybe some of you have watched also. And today the closing ceremony is just 1:30 p.m. Of course, all of you also welcome to join through the link that is provided. In final, I want to say that the PMO, our Ministry of Donor, Niti Aayog, all of them are also beginning to take a renewed focus and interest in tourism for Northeast. And we are expecting some even much bigger push from the central government along with the state governments. Some bigger push is also going to come very soon. Now, in what form and how exactly, that it's a little premature for me to even perhaps tell it, or because it's been worked out yet. So when that happens, I'm sure that we all will play together, we all will be together, and we all will work together and move together, because here the more the merrier. So I would like to once again thank all of you and congratulate all of you for organizing this this gathering on this not the best of option, but on this platform. And I'm sure that today's effort will take us a step or two further towards towards the our objective of bringing and projecting and bringing any towards the nation, the tourists to visit, the visitors from from our own country and from also other parts of the country. With this, I would like to thank all of you once again, and thank you.
And welcome to our panel discussion on Northeast India, a paradise unexplored. The Prime Minister's clarion call for domestic tourism last year in his Independence Day speech had him urging Indians to visit 15 tourist destinations within the country by 2022. And now, with international scheduled flights yet to take off, industry insiders and the government are betting big on domestic tourism to essay a recovery. With Vocal for Local and Atmanirbhar Bharat slogans reverberating in the country, we are here today to let you know why Destination Northeast should find a place in your itineraries. Our panel today comprises Madan Prasad Bezbarua, former Secretary, Tourism, Government of India, and presently the Secretary General of Hotel Association of India; Vipul Prakash, Chief Operating Officer, Make My Trip and Go Ibibo; Sanjay Basu, Senior Vice President, Adventure Tour Operators Association of India; Arijit Purakastu, CEO, Koyali Tours and Travels; and Daniel D'Souza, President and Country Head Leisure, SOTC. Welcome, everyone. I'd like to begin by asking Mr. Bezbarua, other than being India's gateway to East and Southeast Asia, the Northeast region, with its natural and cultural heritage, is also an ideal fit for tourists almost 365 days a year. So how can this potential be harnessed in a better manner?
Well, since you asked how can it be harnessed in a better manner, we have to look at what is the present situation. The present situation is, forgetting about the COVID-19 situation, which has brought tourism to a standstill. If we talk of the Northeast as a whole, the tourism potential has not been explored at all, because it is only a tip of the iceberg of the potential. We have been talking about your whole theme of the discussion also is about, Paradise Unexplored, or that is the brand of the Ministry of Tourism. But I think we have been talking about it for quite some time. We had problems. We had problems plenty regarding, that image perception, that people thought this was a difficult place to go. Now those image perceptions, unfortunately, have been much better in recent times, and then it was interrupted by COVID-19. What we need for Northeast as a whole to do is that we must start from the beginning, that you have to make people know about the Northeast, that creating awareness that you can come here. You can create awareness by having, for example, now it is an age of digital tourism, information technology and all. We must have a very strong website for the Northeast as a whole, and that website must be interactive. It must have information on the Northeast, and the person who wants to visit Northeast should be able to contact the industry through that website only. And supposing it comes to the Northeast website, it should be able to go to, say, Meghalaya or Manipur websites, and from there to their industry representatives. And then it should be not only interactive, it should be e-commerce enabled. And that is one very important part of this thing. Secondly, we need to look at today, in the context of COVID-19, we have to look at something different from what others are providing, and that difference is Northeast. Northeast has got everything which is different from the rest of India. So you talk about nature, you talk about ethnicity, you talk about food, cuisine, shopping, craft, art, etc. We have to concentrate on that and disperse our tourism to those areas where we need them most. Moreover, we are concentrating only on a few iconic tourist destinations, Kaziranga, for example, or one or two places in every state. We have to go beyond that and make tourism a part of the theme of this year's tourism, that is rural development through tourism. How it can be done, I will come to later on, but at the beginning, I'm just starting. I was saying that we need destination development which are sensitive, responsive, clean, and hygienic. We have plenty of destinations, but we have not developed and packaged them properly. We need tremendous amount of wayside facilities because most of the journeys in the Northeast are by road. And the next few, 1 or 2 years, I cannot see anything else except short road journeys for doing domestic tourism. And there, our wayside amenities are awful. We are poor in exploiting in shopping urge of the people. People like to do shopping, but we don't have brands, we don't have quality assurances, and these are the areas where we have to give attention. And I suggest that the Northeast should start a program of mapping its tourism potential district-wise. It is very easy if you do district-wise. Every district collector or commissioner can find out what are the tourism potential, what is for local interest, what is for international interest, and then you plan on the basis of that for destination development. Very briefly, this is how we start, but we have a long way to go.
Thank you, sir. Mr. B.S. Barua has raised a very valid point about online presence. And if you have to talk about online promotions, to gauge the sentiment of travelers, let me now ask Vipul that when people are doing their online research or trying to book a holiday online, which are some of the most popular destinations in the Northeast among your Make My Trip and Go IBEBO customers?
Yeah, so, before I really go on to the exact things, I think, what was being spoken about is very relevant. And, just to give you some insights, which we get as an online platform, I think, Northeast potential is extremely huge. I think all of us understand that. But rather than just talk about general terms, we look at number of people who actually come onto the platform just searching for things in the Northeast. Okay. And that we have seen go up significantly in the last 2 years. I mean, forget about COVID right now. I'm talking about even the period before COVID. So I think, the way we look at that, therefore, the consumer behavior is that there is an interest in Northeast. Okay. People are coming in and they are looking for places to see in Northeast, etc. They're going to Zero, having a look, going to, Shillong, having a look. That's good news. The bad news is that when we talk about how many of this traffic which is searching, how many of them are actually booking for Northeast, that is still very low. Okay. So I think the problem becomes very, very clear that yes, we should do more awareness and all, but people are aware, they are showing interest, but they don't know how to convert that interest into a final booking. And why is that? That will be because they are slightly unfamiliar with the places. There is no, there is nothing like the golden triangle which immediately pulls people in. So, whether we need to create Kaziranga as that or whatever, where people, always look for one or two hooks for their holidays and then explore things around that. So that's one thing, very clearly. On the thing today, we are seeing a lot of interest in Cherrapunji, for example. Okay, we are seeing a lot of interest in Shillong. We are seeing interest in Pelling. Even in 0 point people are searching for. But then even on our platform, we are not able to do a very good job of saying, okay, if you want to go to 0 point and this, how do we stitch an itinerary for you? Who can you go to get this done? So I think there is a lot of interest right now, Peden. I think now really we need to all come together, the state tourism, the travel operators, the online operators, airlines, people don't know how many are local flights. Can we take local flights? Is this, mainly a car journey? To the point being raised, are there amenities on the roadside? How safe is it? Do you need a lot of permits? I think the number one thing, we have called back a lot of people, who have come on the platform but have not booked. And the number one reason they are saying is that we don't know how to do the paperwork. It just says you need permits, but how to get the permits? It's an offline process. They can't go and do a, all state permit, for example. So there are a lot of stuff which can be done, but very encouraging signs. And to what you were saying with Dekho Apna Desh, I would suggest that a lot of people who would have anyway otherwise gone outbound and gone to Southeast Asia and all, And a lot of those people have been to other places in India. Northeast opens up a fantastic frontier where actually you can have a good 7 to 15-day holiday, seeing new things, new experiments. You can do adventure, you can do wildlife, you can do so much things. So I think this is the time for Northeast, if all constituents come together and say we really need to promote it as a destination. And then, I believe as an online partner, we have a lot of value to add, because ultimately consumer first goes and searches on us, and then they can book wherever they want to.
Thank you, Vipul. That's a very valid point that Vipul has raised. Arijit, as a prominent B2B player in the Northeast region, I'd like you to come into what Vipul has mentioned and help us understand what are the strategies that we need to develop domestic tourism traffic in the Northeast. As natural destinations have been voted to be the most attractive for tourists, to visit post-pandemic. And the Northeast, the natural heritage of the Northeast strongly promotes that. What kind of activities should the destination in Northeast adopt to attract more travelers?
Years ago, my father had told me that one does not have to travel far to travel deep. Experiencing a place closely and with new eyes itself can give the joy of travel. I was then a kid and the family was planning a visit to Barapani, Umiam Lake in Meghalaya, which I thought did not actually mean a vacation or anything meaningful. It was like being in your backward in Guwahati, which you knew like the back of your hand. It was only a trip to Kolkata or Delhi or any other famed place whose stories you could boastfully narrate to friends and family. That would actually have meant something. However, in Barapani, I became captivated by the mulberry trees that grew in abundance on the gentle slopes that frame the Umiam Lake. I remember watching caterpillars crawl in and around their leaves, even as I grabbed fistful of the tiny duck fruit wandering around the khasi pines and chatting with the milkmen. Today, as lockdowns are being lifted, we can at least begin to prepare for the new normal. Our marketing efforts can be on communicating the safety of our tours. Our pricing can focus on domestic travelers. Our emphasis can be short local tours. With 2020 set to pass on the year of staycation or nearcation, travel could be confined to what many will think like I did decades ago during my Barapani trip in the backyard. I like to add here, if LTC, that is the Leave Travel Concession, is extended by the center, which is valid at the moment till September 2020, this will boost tourism in Northeast. Government officials can avail LTC to travel to Northeast, unlike other destinations in India where they have to travel by Air India only.
Thank you, Arijit. Daniel, I would like you to come here. Of course, there is potential aplenty in the Northeast. I see that many of the Northeast packages sell Assam, Meghalaya, and Sikkim. That's predominantly that. Wouldn't it be nice to offer travelers a chance to visit, Nagaland or Mizoram, Manipur, Arunachal, or Tripura? As a travel company, if you have to talk about some of the roadblocks that you face while trying to promote more trips to the Northeast, what would those be?
I think Vipul put it right. The main reason for why people don't want to, Northeast has always been a mystery, if you ask me, even for us to a large extent, because people don't know. People don't know whether it's safe. People don't know whether there is, how the roads look like. How do I travel within the Northeast? Do I take a train? Do I take a flight? So these are questions that are on customers' mind, whether there is a COVID or no COVID, right? So that's the challenge that we have had. But for the last, I think, couple of years, I would say that there is a huge emerging interest in the Northeast, right? There are, in fact, we've got quite a few bookings in the last couple of years. And then what happens is we start promoting Northeast in a big way. And then there is either a natural calamity or a political situation, then we have to kind of stop promoting the destination. So these are things that we are, held up with in terms of, but yeah, you're right, where it's always restricted to Assam, Meghalaya, Kalimpong, places like that, and people don't go beyond that in terms of at least from the other cities into Northeast. But I think what is interesting is if you know that the Northeast Council, which is headed by Amit Shah himself, uh, in the 14th Planning Commission, has allotted almost 250% more budget towards about 14,000, 13,000, 13 lakh odd crores. So that's, I think, the interesting point. So there is a lot of money that is being pumped into, the Northeast, developing the Northeast, because they clearly see that as a huge destination and the huge potential to grow. So there is a clear interest by the government, and I think partnerships with the with tour operators like us or Make My Trip and others will always be able to take these destinations to the masses. Because see, today in the environment that we are in, we are actually fighting a situation where customers are not telling us or asking us where to go. They're asking us, should we go? I think that's the situation we are in. So it's a big demand shift from where we are to what we are today. And I think we all need to understand that. So we have issues on demand, we have issues on supply, we have issues on sentiment. Now, if all these three have to come together and make people travel, there has to be the closest or the least that we can have is safety at the destination, at least from permits and political environment and other natural hindrances. I think that has to get sorted out, and then you have the COVID sitting on top. So, but the good thing, I think the opportunity for Northeast in this current environment is because everybody wants to travel domestic, and Northeast is seen as more not impacted as much as the other cities, and it's more clean, it's more greener. So people tend to kind of go to these places, and we are seeing that happening.
Daniel has summarized the consumer sentiment in a beautiful way by saying from, where to go to should we go. So I'd like Mr. Sanjay Basu to come in and tell me about it. The Northeast has a combination of, from mountains, rivers, forests, wildlife, and a cultural diversity, cuisines. You have everything, making it a very vibrant destination. As somebody who is an exponent of adventure and cruise tourism, how would you talk about it to your potential clients when it comes to adventure or cruise tourism?
Thanks, Pedan. I would like to actually first bring in a global perspective. In the 2017 World Economic Forum at Davos, India's natural heritage was rated as the 5th greatest. And where we stood was at 112th position as a country. Just like you mentioned, Northeast has from snow-covered mountains to rolling hills and whitewater rivers to navigable rivers to rainforests and alpine forests, and a wildlife diversity which possibly is the greatest outside of the continent of Africa. Now, when we look at where the industry globally is standing, it's already at $700 billion, nature-based tourism. And as per ATA and some other organizations, ATA is the US-based Adventure Travel Trade Association. It is estimated that by 2026, nature-based tourism is going to be $1.64 trillion. If India was rated as 5th, and if Northeast is amongst the greatest pristine collection of India's natural heritage, I would be very safe in estimating that the tourism potential to the Northeast can be nothing less than at least $20 to $30 billion worth of potential, possibly generating close to about 300,000 to 400,000 or more jobs directly, and indirectly it goes way beyond. The region is pristine, unexplored, but to some extent also unorganized at the moment. What needs to be done is, it has themes, just like you mentioned, nature, adventure, eco, cuisines, textiles, because Northeast textiles with all the different tribal cultures is possibly richer than what Rajasthan and Gujarat has, in the color diversity that is there. So with all these themes, I think the 7 sisters and 1 brother, as Sikkim calls itself, needs to put themselves together as organized circuits. Neither of these states are big enough or organized enough to offer themselves as a standalone destination per se. If they tend to merge together from a tourism perspective point of view, create circuits where 2, 3 states or 4 states come together to put their themes, matching themes together. Let's say, in the US, in the eastern coast, along the eastern coast, there's something known as the Appalachian Trail, which goes on for 2,500 kilometers. And on the western side, you have the Pacific Rim Trail, Pacific Coastal Rim Trail. Now, starting from Sikkim through Bhutan, across Arunachal, coming down through Nagaland, Mizoram, etc., if you were to identify trekking trails and make a circuit, a mega trekking trail, people would devote themselves, especially those who are around India or in India, to possibly do that trek in sections like they do. When people complete the Appalachian Trail, they advertise that, I've completed the entire Appalachian Trail. Indian Himalayas, Indian hills, I think that is the kind of organization that needs to take place. On the wildlife front, Assam's wildlife has become famous, but the wildlife of the other states is also very beautiful. Namdapha is one of the few places where snow leopards are seen. But everybody who comes to India to see snow leopards only goes to Ladakh. These are things that need to be promoted. There's wildlife in Tripura, Mizoram, Manipur, every place. Those need to be also highlighted. So might be a wildlife circuit needs to be designed. A birding circuit needs to be designed. We have river cruising, of course, on the Brahmaputra, which has, I'm operator of a ship there. And it started to pick up, except of course last year was impacted and this year is wiped out. And next year possibly we'll see a step up. But the 2-3 years prior to that, we had actually turned the project around to become a profitable project. And from being a zero domestic signature and 100% purely international tourist arrivals on it, we've now started seeing close to about 7-8% domestic arrivals also on the cruise ship, which is an expensive holiday. So, if these thematic products, thematic destinations, thematic circuit development happens and gets promoted, both domestically and internationally, you are going to see that 20, 30 or $40 billion worth of business land in the Northeast and transform the region, because it'll give employment right down the line, in the most rural parts of the region, and transform them just like, regions like Ladakh did. Certain things that you need to do further after you identify the circuits is infrastructure, accessibility, accommodation, and amenities. Even it's only after decades of Kaziranga being known as a great destination and being promoted and being visited from all over the world as well as all over India, was I think a private sector good quality amenity built between Guwahati and Kaziranga. These are things, when Rajasthan took off on tourism, the first thing they did was create midways, because you need that when people are traveling. These are just very fundamental requirements. Accessibility, Northeast is vast, but its destinations are dispersed. You need to create the air connectivity. And when I say air connectivity, not helicopters, because helicopters don't carry baggage, or they don't carry enough people, or they tend to be very expensive. You need to create fixed wing air connectivity in all the regions, in all the destinations, and you need to create the air operators who are going to connect those destinations together. Initially, it's going to be a tough call because it's a greenfield venture, and any new region, new destination, new marketing effort is going to cost a lot of money and a lot of losses. I've been through that because I had launched a Brahmaputra cruise, and for almost about 6 years I was making losses. Today the losses are more than the capital investment. However, we see it turning around. So with that kind of a gestation phase of 5 to 8 years, the government will have to handhold. Otherwise operators are not going to come in. And if they don't come in, the key factor of accessibility is not going to get solved. So you'll be only promoting standalone destinations and never circuits. And without the circuits, you will not get the long-term, footsteps or footfalls in the region. So the region needs to really develop. It's something like if Golden Triangle became famous, it was because Delhi, Haryana, UP, Rajasthan were made to get together and work, whether it was with road connections, midway amenities, whether with airports or train connections or whatever it was. So the states really need to get together and work together, create their destinations, create the circuits, create the infrastructure, and create the promotion jointly.
Okay. Mr. Basu has talked about the pain points when it comes to promoting Northeast. I would now like to go to Vipul and Daniel both, since both of you work with consumers directly. And if you had to talk about a wish list that you would like for the Northeast, what would that be? Vipul, we can go with you first.
I think pretty well summarized by Sanjay. My wish list would be very clear, and this is based on some consumer feedback. One is, which I think Sanjay very well, alluded to, can this unit be seen as one unit and not 7 states? And what I mean that in terms of permits required, in terms of permissions, So if you have to have a permit, can there be a one Northeast permit where you can drive to various places? I think that will go a long way. Second is very clear, and I think every esteemed member of the panel said that, roadside amenities. I think that is something which is very clearly coming out. People have today accepted that they need to take road trips. Okay, road conditions are good, but normally any point to any point in the Northeast is 4 to 5 hours drive. You need nice, restrooms, nice rest stops for people to really do that. I think connectivity of, air. I think that is, there is a scheme of, Ude is Desh ka har Nagrik. Now within that, can we really look at, what can happen from Tezpur, what can happen from Shillong, have those small aircrafts and all. I think the whole idea about if we can then package this, and I think there is so much to offer that we just need to take care of the basics.
Vipul has raised a very pertinent point about the fact that can we have one, one unit, one permit for the entire Northeastern state? Mr. Bisbaro, what is your thought on it? Is it possible to do something like this? One permit that can be applicable for all the 8 states?
Yeah, I think that would be the ideal situation. Whenever we talk about regional tourism, we always say that, for example, SAARC was trying to have a one visa system, etc. So that, first thing is the entry. You create awareness, people try to come and they do come. Now, they have problems at that stage. This has to be removed. We fought a lot for restricted area permits to be removed, which has luckily gone for most of the places. But new things have come in now. Now, inner line permits, and some other states have some other permits. I don't see the possibility of all the states coming together to have one permit for the entire region. But I think that's a good idea to be promoted and to be strongly urged, and because that is one major problem for tourists to come to the Northeast. So I would suggest that, though my instinct and the approach of a bureaucrat would say that it is not possible immediately, but things are changing. The world is changing so fast that perhaps the ideas also will change. And it is good that the point has been raised from the consumer's point of view, and this should be focused by all associations, industries, organizations like yours.
Thank you so much. Yes, Vipul, you can continue with what you were saying.
So that was the infrastructure part of it. Okay. And the second thing I think, which I feel, is will be able to really get consumers into Northeast and, is I think promoting this whole thing about homestays. When people want to go to the Northeast, yeah, they want to see the wildlife, they want to see a lot of things. But Northeast as a culture, a lot of consumers want to immerse it. And, they believe that, if they can get and stay with the people there, interact with the people, get into a societal sort of a living, I personally think that is going to give another fillip to the Northeast. And you know what? It is a win-win from every point of view, from the consumer's point of view and from the state's point of view. what better can you do as far as livelihood is concerned? Think about the youth of today. COVID is going to put new challenges on employment and all. So if you can get the youth there and the livelihood, people have these places. Look at the whole thing of environment. They're so more friendly. You cannot have more than X number of hotels, in the Northeast because of the infrastructure. So I think if you can just concentrate on two things. One is the whole, I will loosely call it infrastructure, which is all about the air and the roads and etc. And second is promote the homestays and really sell the whole Northeast as just not a destination, but an experience. I personally think that, these two can go a long way towards getting the consumers into Northeast, more so in the, COVID era. And of course, I am taking certain things like guaranteeing safety, etc. as given, because that is anyway something which I am sure everybody is working on.
Correct. Daniel, I'd like to come to you here. In fact, you had released a holiday readiness report in June, and in which Northeast India had also figured among the preferred travel destinations. So from a consumer point of view, if you have to talk about a wish list for consumers wanting to visit Northeast, what would those be?
What does the customer want? I mean, if you look at a consumer today, what does he want? He wants access to reach a destination either the fastest or without any issues, right? So that's primarily the starting point. So I would keep air connectivity separate, because that's extremely important for any destination to prosper. I mean, look at any destination that has taken off today, which was not known to the customer, but so either a point into either Guwahati, into Shillong from the major cities has to happen. And I know there is talk in the government of getting a flight from Delhi to Shillong sometime at the end of the year. So that's extremely crucial in terms of how do I get an in and out point into the Northeast. The rest can be always put together. I think that's one critical point. When you look at consumers, when we spoke to consumers, at least from our side, they're clearly moving towards experiences, right? People are not, there is a huge segment of people who only want to experience different cultures, different, the wildlife and things like that. So there is a clear shift in terms of customer sentiment towards doing more experiential stuff than doing the regular stuff. See, for the regular stuff, I can still go to the cities or go to Dubai or go to, Mauritius or wherever it is. But where do I go to do something really unique? And it's also moving towards the, a kind of a brag value today that, okay, I didn't go to anything that you went to, but I went somewhere where you didn't go to, that primarily throws Northeast on top of the list, because first is whenever you have consumers saying that I went to the Northeast, first is the other guy on the other side is amazed, saying that, oh, you went to the Northeast, it must have been so difficult, and how did you travel? And so there are a lot of questions, right? So I don't think doing huge promotions might actually put the destination up. I think it's a lot to do with one consumer telling another consumer about their experiences. Yeah, it is an effort, but especially when it comes to places like the Northeast, I think air connectivity is primary. People do not know, like what I think Vipul mentioned. I'm still not sure whether an homestay is good for me or do I even have a branded hotel in the Northeast. So those questions still are there. So whatever people like us tell consumers, they tend to believe. So homestays could be a good option, and maybe locally branded hotels could be another option. So Northeast actually is high on the list for a lot of people, but yeah, these issues kind of drag them down, and I'm hoping that COVID will change the situation, because people still want to go to places that are cleaner and is more secure for consumers, and also talk about things like, okay, I went to a place where you had not been. So these things actually kick off very well in the current environment that is there.
Vipul also raised a very pertinent point about involving local communities, about homestays, and tourism is a great vehicle when it comes to involving local communities, and it can cover the development needs of the community as well. So I would like to ask Arijit about this. How is the Northeast leveraging tourism to bring about a development of the rural community as well?
The rural tourism market is already there in Northeast. It is getting organized slowly and steadily. Local tour operators are playing exceptional role by promoting the same. Let me tell you about greater adjutant stock, with just few hundred left in the world, and two-thirds of the global population live in Assam, near Swalkuchi, it's a place called Dadara. And here the village women are known as Hargila in Assamese. It's to greater adjutant stock, who all are active conservationists thanks to Hargila Baidor, Hargila sister, Srimati Purnima Devi Barman, an environmentalist who has won the prestigious Whitley Awards, also known as the Green Oscars. Also, her conserving greater adjutant stocks and involving nearly 300 women of the villages who sing hymns and weave scarves, these days masks too, and other items on handlooms with motifs of the bird. To create awareness, need to protect the species. This is once in a lifetime experience. Only ones who will visit will understand it. Also, thanks to another person called Pranab Malakar. He's just a caretaker of a Hajo pond near Guwahati. The turtles have found a safe haven here. He collects the turtle eggs from the sandbanks and put them into an incubator. His conservation efforts help to release many turtle hatching nurtured at the temple pond into nearby wildlife sanctuary. Then there's Cherrapunji in Meghalaya. Cherrapunji is not only about rains. Cherrapunji is also about big market held once in 8 days. Not in 7 days, mine in 8 days. It's magical and unforgettable. And true photographer's delight, also a remarkable oddball, how locals in Cherrapunji during monsoon alternate between wearing dry and wet clothes. Dry clothes are worn in indoors while the wet ones are stepping out. These are many such activities involving local communities, but we are also concerned that we are not promoting into mass tourism. So we do have many attractions as far as experiential is concerned.
Thank you, Arijit. Mr. Visvirma, since you are the Secretary General of Hotel Association of India as well, we see a lot of people from the Northeast working in the tourism and hospitality sectors in other parts of the country. You know, if there are better job opportunities created within the region, do you think that it would also help to generate more jobs and retain talent as well within the region?
You take me to a much wider issue, which is, of course, my interest also. As you know, I did a report on the Northeast people staying in the metropolitan cities, which is called the Bezbora Committee report. One of the fundamental issue there was, why do these people come out, living the security and the comfort of the joint families and the life there in the back home, to as paltry jobs in the metropolitan cities? Now we have to create the job within the Northeast, and there is no doubt that the skill that in fact, I had given to the Northeastern Council when I was a member there, that the opportunities for skilled people in the hospitality sector is tremendous today. Not in the metropolitan cities, not in Northeast, even internationally. There is a shortage of manpower in the places like Singapore and other places because of these factors, your demographic factors. Now we have to take advantage of that. That is a different issue. But since I'm getting an opportunity, can I come back to some of the issues which were raised by some of the panelists here? The first thing is that the people have to come to the Northeast, and there we have to decide about information, awareness, and then all those issues. But important problem is that once having come, where do they go? We have not created, it was mentioned by one of the colleagues here, that we have to develop circuits which are meaningful circuits. That if I have interest in Arunachal, from Arunachal, where do I go? Do I come all the way to Arunachal, 10 days journey to Tawang from Delhi, so for example, and then go back only? Can we not link up Arunachal with going to Kaziranga or going to Shillong and other places? Secondly, we don't have a plan. There's no organization that was talked about. We need organization now, and that organization, I don't know who will provide. Northeastern Council can perhaps provide that organization to bring the states together to see that we have composite circuits, which are small, maybe different categories, maybe 1 week, 3 days, 10 days, 15 days, like that. Secondly, we don't have much to hold people after coming to a destination. People come to all the way to see Kaziranga. And after doing the Kaziranga morning or the evening trip, they don't know what to do. And we have not developed the rural areas around that. We have not developed, created curiosity among them to say that why don't you go to some other places? Can you go to, would you like to go and see the Ahom kings residences and other places only a few, 2 hours journey? I went to see the cleanest village in Asia, we call it in Meghalaya. What a beautiful place. But the point is, people just go from Shillong and come back. There is no income generation there. There is no shopping facilities there. People cannot buy anything there. Now we must promote art, craft, and the women's, cuisine and other things along with tourism. That's why somebody had mentioned here. I would say that the focus. Everyone knows that Northeast has tremendous potential. Craft, we have got adventure, nature, everything. Now we have to go out to those areas now. We have to go to the, not only, homestay, I would make it bigger one, that you go to the rural areas and stay in the rural areas. The trekking routes can be developed for rural stays as well. Because all along the trekking route, there are villages. It has been done in Uttarakhand. It has been done in other places. Now we all comes down to some people getting together and organizing that. The private sector will do that, and the private sector needs that hand-holding by the government. I think that is what is needed today when we go post-COVID situation to create rural tourism extensively over Northeast, because Northeast is primarily rural areas, most of them. There are lots of other issues, but I thought that getting an opportunity, I'll mention 2 or 3 of those things. Thank you.
Mr. Basu, I would like to come to you and talk to you. Mr. Bezbaru also raised this point, and everybody else has been, and talk to you specifically about adventure tourism, because we have plenty of opportunity in the Northeast when it comes to adventure tourism. So if you had to just pick 3 points that needs to be developed for development of adventure tourism, what would those be?
The focus in adventure, with the mountains being there and the hills being there, naturally trekking and mountaineering is one thing that comes to mind straight away. You have 7,000 meter mountains and 6,000 meter mountains in the Northeast. And then you have places like Namdapha, where you can do a nature hike for even 14 days. From 400 meters up to 4,000 meters. And it's an incredible jungle nature hike experience. You have the opportunity of possibly seeing up to 4 different kinds of big cats, which can be really incredible. So you have trekking, you have mountaineering, nature hiking. River rafting is something which is obvious, because with the Siang River there, and of course the other rivers, Subansiri is of course a bit dammed now, but you have various other rivers from Teesta to right across the Northeast. It's a land of rivers, so you can do a lot of whitewater rafting, kayaking, these kind of activities. Of course, then you have the navigable rivers. You have the Brahmaputra, you have the Barak River, which can be for cruising as a different, because cruising is also part of adventure tourism as per UNWTO. And then wildlife is naturally there. You have to focus a lot on the wildlife, because like I said, this is the greatest wildlife destination outside of the continent of Africa, and possibly the greatest birding destination practically anywhere in the world. So wildlife, ornithology, natural history, that has to be a big focus. You can develop a lot of aerosports, because you have so many places with highlands where cliffs are there, and you can do parasailing, you can do various aerosports that can be done. Those are definitely something, people will not come from abroad for that, but a lot of domestic tourists will come for that. And similarly, there are a whole host of adventure activities. When you have mountains, rivers, and forests, there is a whole host of adventure activities that can be done. Adventure, eco, and nature tourism. When I say nature tourism, it might not be active holidays, but you can have a beautiful lodge with a beautiful scenery in front of it. You know, and people, leisure, luxury travelers just drive in there to take in nature. And this is something that really needs to be promoted, because most polls all over the world has shown that in such a situation like ours today, where there's a pandemic on, nature-based tourism is the first attraction. It seems the obvious place to go for a natural social distancing, a pandemic infection-free environment, and that is something that the Northeast must capitalize on. You know, put the infrastructure in place, put the accessibility in place, and promote it as a great nature destination from active to leisure, all combined.
Thank you very much. We've come towards the end. I would now like closing remarks from each of our panelists. You know, I just would like you to tell people why they should visit the Northeast, or why should the Northeast be promoted as a destination. Mr. Besbarwa, we'll start with you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, of course, it is quite obvious, because the world is looking now for experiences, something different. And Northeast provides that difference. That difference, which is that uniqueness of experiences. And that's why Northeast is a place to visit. You talk about anything. We panelists have talked about adventure, nature, cuisine, craft, everything. You do not find the same thing anywhere else in the world. So Northeast is unique.
Thank you so much. Mr. Basu?
You know, I'll go back in my 40 years of history in this industry. In the 70s and 80s, it was the era of Kashmir and Ladakh. And then in the 80s and 90s, it was the era of Rajasthan and the Thar Desert. Then in the 90s and the 2000s, it was the era of Kerala and Karnataka. And I've been in all these places when they were developing. You know, I've seen them from a pioneer's eye and enjoyed that. In fact, those opportunities might not be there for the next generation because we've gobbled them all up. But the 2000 and 2010 or 2020s, really the only region left, which is going to be the next chapter of Indian tourism, is the Northeast. So it has to be, it is historically to be, it is, you know, future prediction to be. It is the obvious thing to happen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Daniel?
I think, you know, Mr. Basu put it really well. For me, Northeast is like the jewel of India, you know, so, and I mean, all of us have to understand, you know, the next generation doesn't want something that is very predictable. You know, they want something that is always unpredictable. And I think Northeast fits into that category very, very well. They really don't know what's inside it. So for the future, I think Northeast has huge potential, and it always will surprise you. Like you still don't know what's inside it, right? So people are eager to know, and that will enable a lot of travel to this destination once connectivity opens up. And
thank you.
Hope that it will happen soon. That's it.
Thank you. Vipul?
You know, I will just say this based on my personal experience from the time I first went to the Northeast to the repeated visits. I can just tell for every consumer in India, if you think that your Indian experience has been complete without the Northeast, you know, you are mistaken. So forget about everything else. If you want to be called an Indian in the true sense, then a Northeast experience is an integral part of that.
Thank you. Arijit?
Well, I'm happy to say that Northeast has started getting repeat tourism over here. So that's a very good sign. People are coming to not only for the experience, for birding and wildlife. And one more important thing is that earlier Northeast was for 6 months, October to April, May. Now people, you know, previous, not post-COVID or previous, but people have started coming throughout the year. Even during floods, people are coming. During heavy monsoons, they're coming. During summer, the tea gardens, they like to visit. The Koreans, the Japanese, they're visiting the tea gardens. They're coming. So it has become a 12-month season. That is what I see for the last 20 years.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your insights today. And we hope that this small step of ours will go a long way in establishing the Northeast and encouraging people to visit the region. And that will be, we'll see when people start booking from Vipul and Daniel. So they'll let us know when that happens. And of course, why not? You know, from the cleanest village in Asia to the only floating national park in the world. And of course, the world's largest river island. Northeast India never ceases to amaze visitors. We urge everyone to come and celebrate the rich cultural mosaic that the Northeast of India represents. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to end up by saying a big thank you to Economic Times Travel Group for organizing this important event on unraveling the Northeast, India's best kept secret. IE has been associated with this program primarily because IE has been looking at tourism as one of the sector which can revive economic growth in the region. The Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship was set up in 1994 with a primary objective of expanding entrepreneurship in the region. The institute has been working as a one-stop destination for entrepreneurship development through entrepreneurship education, through research, policy advocacy, incubation support, building capacities of prospective entrepreneurs, area approach for livelihood promotion initiatives, and workshop and seminars. The Institute had taken up large number of projects in the region in order to ensure that the entrepreneurs get the hand-holding and mentorship support to take them forward. Tourism sector, post-COVID, will no longer be the business as usual. And we need to redefine, refocus, and change the game plan. It's important to build up a strategy involving both government and industry stakeholders, which can be categorized into 3 phases: short-term, medium-term, and long-term. The twin challenges is in the short term is to save businesses and jobs. The government must provide businesses with institutional access for working capital and enabling liquidity. The government need to help small business to access working capital by underwriting at least a part of the loan amount. On the demand side, India has a robust domestic market, which the Northeast has not still been able to tap. The data suggests that we have at least 24 million domestic tourists which travel abroad every year and spending an estimated $25 billion. With a little tweaking of the strategy, it should not be very difficult to get these domestic tourists to these areas in Northeast which still not been explored. As we go forward, tourism should evolve to a more green tourism where people would like to see greenery, nature, community orientation. Northeast has a substantial potential in all of these areas. Even before COVID, Northeast had seen a surge of foreign tourists. Data from Assam shows that as of 1819, there were about 60 lakh domestic tourists and about 41,000 foreign tourists who had visited the state. For the Northeast, it should be much higher. Going forward, we feel that we should set the reset button, look at new opportunities. An example from IE we would like to cite. IE had set up a business incubation center on adventure tourism, primarily focusing on the youth, which is very sporty and outwardly are outdoor types, and Northeast has all the potential for adventure tourism to expand. With training about 150 youth, which was sponsored by NEC and Rashtriya Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, about 60% of them had set up enterprises with very minimal support, showing the immense possibility of adventure tourism in the region. We believe that needs to be expanded, pushed, and we should look at making Northeast as a hub for adventure tourism. That's the area that I think the government should look at. The panelists, I would like to thank the panelists, expert people who gave some insights into the problems or challenges which is there. I would like to thank Madan Prasad Bejborua, the former Secretary of Tourism, Government of India, and currently the Secretary General of the Hotel Association of India, Vipul Prakash, Arijit Purkastia, Daniel D'Souza, and Sanjay Vasu, who focused on Northeast being the natural destination and most attractive for tourists, particularly the post-pandemic conditions. The natural heritage of Northeast is to be promoted strongly, both domestically and internationally. And in the times when infection or people are scared about infection, this could be perceived as an infection-free area with natural surroundings and social distancing where crowds are limited. So it should be promoted in this manner. Of course, there are areas which needs to be challenges, which needs to be taken care of, increasing air accessibility, road infrastructure, qualification, and a strong publicity campaign, both domestic and international, should be able to make Northeast the destination for domestic tourists. I would like to thank Dr. Jitendra Singh, Minister Donor, for coming in and gracing the occasion, and Moses Chalai, Secretary, NEC, for being the guest of honor. I would like to also thank NEC for sponsoring this important program. We feel that with this, the stakeholders who are part of this deliberation would be able to take some lessons back to their work, click the reset button, and make Northeast a destination for domestic tourists in the medium run and international tourists in the long run. Thank you very much.